Welcome to question 20 of the AAMC preview practice test review, and let us jump right into it. All right, you are enrolled in your school's tutoring program and are doing very well in your neuroanatomy course. However, many of your classmates are struggling. One of your classmates is having a particularly difficult time in the laboratory section of the class. The classmate tells you that despite studying extensively, they are worried they will fail the course. All right, so what's the main problem here? Remember, we always try to summarize the main problem succinctly. Well, here, you're doing well in your school's neuroanatomy course, and your classmate tells you they are worried about failing the course despite studying extensively. All right, 20.1. Let's jump into it. All right, tell your classmate about the tutoring program that helped you. All right. I think, before we kind of dive into making our initial differentiations and then answering our these questions, I kind of need to get on my soapbox a little bit, right? About the limitations of this test. And maybe I'll make a longer video kind of detailing a more thorough explanation about my qualms with this test, but definitely, one of my biggest critiques of this type of test is that the scenario is boiling down this complex interpersonal interaction to such a, I don't know, it's just boiling it down to such a reductive degree, right? Like, we have a friend here, or at least a classmate, who's coming to us and is distraught and coming to us for help. And, often it can be difficult to know what to do, right? And what helps us usually in the real world is that we have a lot of context around these situations. And that kind of allows us to know how to respond. Some contexts are like, how close friends are you? And maybe does your classmate have other stressors in your life? And for this question, a good context is, how good is your school's tutoring program? Does your classmate have time for a tutoring program? And when they just told you that they're worried about failing the course, and it's not sure if they're asking for a solution, maybe they just need a person to listen and talk to. All these complexities are removed when a test is structured like this, and that kind of makes effectiveness just a very complicated thing. Like, for this question, if a really good friend came up to you, right, if a classmate came up to you and with this concern, and they divulged how stressed they were, and then you immediately blurt out, go to a tutoring program, like, that interaction can go so horrendously wrong, right? And it can sound so invalidating. How you say and how you tell the class about a tutoring program is so critical to the effectiveness of this answer. And we just don't know that, right? And it's just a limitation of a test like this when you boil down complex interpersonal interactions and scenarios into less than 100 words. And, another limitation is how do we interpret this question stem, right? Because when I read it, let me go back to 20.1. Like, when I read this, the scenario, I'm not immediately picking up that the reason why I'm doing well in the neuroanatomy course is particularly because of the tutoring program, right? And it doesn't make that very clear. But in order for us to answer the rest of these questions correctly, it's really, really important that we understand that this tutoring program is very useful and it's helped us a lot, and it's a very good resource, right? And we just don't know that reading this question, strictly. You kind of have to infer that from reading the question. And that's just another limitation, just another frustrating point that you kind of have to manage when reading these scenarios. And going to the tutoring program that has been effective for us, it's kind of inferring that this is a really important resource that could be effective for other people, right? And I have a lot more I can say about kind of the limitations that I feel towards this test, but I'm gonna stop right there. Maybe I'll make another video on it and detail it a lot further. But at the end of the day, this is a test that we are taking for medical school admissions, and let's try to use this practice test as an opportunity to grow, right? Let's embrace a growth mindset and see what we can learn from this question so that we can ultimately do better on the actual preview exam. So some important takeaways is that the wordings of these questions are critical, right? And you should think about everything that is entailed within the scenario and pay really close attention to why certain things are included in the question and understand their relevance to the responses. And in this case, it's that the tutoring program is very valuable, and the AAMC recognizes that it's very important to our success. Furthermore, we can also, and this goes beyond this question, but goes, a common thread we see in a lot of questions is that the AAMC highly values, school administrators, school programs, and school resources. So when you ever have those in the question stem in the scenario, definitely try to use advantage of those resources, and anything related to your school is likely going to be very helpful. And yeah, so just with all that said, let's just jump into this question. Tell the classmate about the tutoring program that helped you, right? Are we addressing, and we can go back to how we differentiate, making our initial differentiations, right? Let's use the second question because I think it could be really useful here. Are you taking steps to resolve or address the main problem? Remember, the main problem was that our classmate came to us, they were worried and about failing the course, and we're doing well in the course. Is this addressing that scenario? Well, it very directly is, right? We are directing our classmate to a resource that has helped us a lot. All right, so it's going to be either a 3 or a 4. We can say that pretty confidently. So how do we differentiate between a 3 and a 4? Well, you can read through these questions, but I feel like I've, kind of alluded to what this is going to be. And it really is going to be a very effective answer, right? Because not only are we offering a direct solution to the main problem, we are doing so in a way that is very tangible, we're and actionable. We're directing them to a resource that's helped us. Ultimately, this is going to be a great solution. It has very little downsides. If you go through all of our differentiation questions, you can really see that this is going to be an effective resource that's going to do really well for our classmate. And remember, the AAMC, they like these school programs, administrators. All right. 20.2. Sympathize with your classmate that neuroanatomy is a difficult subject for many students. All right, so are we addressing the issue, right? Let's use the same question. Are we taking steps to address or resolve the main issue? Well, to some degree we are, right? We are sympathizing with our classmate. We're at least, validating their concerns, and we're supporting them emotionally, And although we're doing that, we're not directly offering a pathway for them to do better in the class. So this is kind of in the middle. We are being supportive and kind, but by not offering like a very direct solution, that's going to help. I'm going to put this into a 2 or 3. All right, so how do we differentiate between a 2 or a 3? And if you're wondering like how we got there also, part of the problem is that they're distressed, right? Part of the problem is that they're worried, right? And because that's also included in the question stem, addressing that worrying is important, right? It's very, very important. So differentiating between a 2 and a 3, you can read through these. I think one con that we have here is, are we offering a solution to the main problem? Well, we're not offering a direct solution, right, to improving, but we are supporting and validating our classmates. So that's not a direct solution, but that could be really helpful, of course. And then, how are we impacting relevant stakeholders? Well, our classmate is, and I guess we're the other relevant stakeholder. There's two of us in this scenario and in response. So we're definitely helping them and being kind. And I think another very important question to ask here is, what is the likelihood of causing a problem? Now, is sympathizing with your classmate and validating them, is that going to cause any problem? Well, if you go back to, how do we differentiate a 2 and a 3 response, right? How do you differentiate a 2 from a 3? Well, we know a 2 response will not improve the situation or may cause a problem. A 3 response could help, but will not significantly improve the situation. So a key difference between a 2 and a 3 is their probability for causing a problem, right? And for this question, sympathizing with your classmate, supporting them, validating them emotionally, it's not going to cause a problem, right? It's only going to help their worrying and give them support, right? But it's it's not going to cause a problem. So this is, oh wow, that is let me go back there. This is going to be a 3 response, right? Because of that reason. All right. 20.3. All right, 20.3. Offer to study with the classmate to help them learn the material. All right, so, are we addressing the main problem, right? Are we taking steps to address or resolve the main problem? Here, we clearly are, right? We're taking steps because we are offering to help our classmate very directly that will benefit them, right? This is going to be a 3 or a 4 response. So how do we differentiate between a 3 and a 4? Now you can read through these, right? And I'm going to add one more thing here, and part of that whole rant in the beginning of the video was really to get a very effective answer here. It seems that we need to direct our classmate to the tutoring program, right? Because the AAMC sees that as the best way to improve the situation. Now, why do they think that? Well, one, it's a very actionable step, right? To direct them to the tutoring program that the school already offers, right? Another thing is, do I think this could have been a 4 response? I think it probably could have been, but just given that the question stem really values a tutoring program and it is a school resource, it's going to be a 3 response, right? And another way to get there also is to look at this question we just added, right? Are you burdening any relevant stakeholders? And I put this under, are we impacting any relevant stakeholders, just because it's a bit more clear in what we're looking for. Are you burdening any relevant stakeholders? Now, there's 2 big stakeholders in this response and in this question, us and our classmate. So another way to get to the 3 response is, yeah, we are burdening ourselves by offering to help in light of the option of having the classmate go to the tutoring program. This is a more burdensome response to us because there is an option that the school's program is there and can help. That's also a way to get to the 3 response. I don't like this question too much. I think this could have been a 4 response for sure, but just the fact that the tutoring program was there and they included that, it's really important to keep that in mind when determining effectiveness. But it's a question like that, that's gonna makes me a little frustrated with the lack of context that you get in these questions. And it's not a fault of the test itself. To some degree, it's just the format of the test and just the idea that you can test how ethical and responsible, and you test how professionally ready you are in like a multiple choice test, standardized test. I guess it's just one of the bigger problems with medical school admissions. But all right, Let's go. Let's keep moving forward. Number 4, suggest that the classmate request supplementary learning materials from the professor. All right, so are we addressing the main problem, right? Are we taking steps to address the main problem? That's our initial differentiation. Remember, how are we going to narrow down our choices into 2 responses? Well, we are, right? This is a very clear step that is going to allow the student to get help, and we can put this into a 3 and a 4 response. It's going to be at least effective in addressing the issue or helping to address the issue. All right. So how we differentiate between a 3 and a 4? Now this is going to be very similar to our previous question, and that we're not offering them the tutoring program, right? It was a double AMC in this question sees as a very valuable resource. Furthermore, it's kind of unclear whether our classmate even needs supplementary learning materials, right? They say they already study extensively. Maybe supplementing that with even more materials isn't very helpful. And having the classmate go to the professor, this is also a rather burdensome task to put on our relevant stakeholder, which is our classmate who we're trying to help, right? We're burdening them even more with this response. So all that together, combined with the fact that we're not offering the tutoring program, this is going to be a 3 response, an effective response. All right. $20.5. Oh, did we do 20.4? Let me just go back. Okay, yeah, we just did this. 20.5. All right. Explain to the classmate that some students may not excel in the course. All right, let's start back. Are we addressing the main problem? Are we taking steps to address our classmates' concern that they're not doing well? No, we are not, right? We're not addressing that at all. In fact, what we're doing is we're being incredibly insensitive and rude, right? We are, and if you go back to differentiating a 1 or a 2, right, we're not offering any solution, right? We are being disrespectful and rude. We are not being open to conversation, right? And clearly, I think one of the biggest things to recognize though is just we're being intensely rude and not helping them, not offering any kind of solution. So we can safely put this into a 1. Right? This is not, and it's going to cause problems with, our relationship with our classmates, and also it's not helping them even further, and that's only going to further their worry, and we are, making them more worried with this response, and yeah, not a good response at all. All right, suggest that your classmates spend more time and effort studying. All right, so are we addressing the main problem? Are we taking steps to address and resolve the main problem of our classmate struggling? No, we are not, right? And you can kind of notice again, we're being very insensitive, right? We're not listening to our classmate because they told us that they've been already studying extensively. Having them saying you should just study more and spend more time and effort is totally invalidating, very insensitive, not helpful in the slightest. It's only gonna make our classmate struggle more. If studying extensively is not helping, spending more time isn't the solution here. And if they do that, they're only gonna, be more worried and have a more difficult time. They need another resource. So spending more time is gonna cause over consequences, right? It's a very important distinction between a 1 and a 2 response. This is going to cause over consequences, not only because our classmates going to feel invalidated. This solution, it's not going to help them, right? It's only going to make their situation worse if they do go about it. So this is going to be a 1 or a 2. Sorry, this is going to be a very ineffective response, a 1 response. All right. All right. 20.7. Tell your classmate you cannot help because you have other classes to focus on. All right, so are we addressing the problem? No, we're not, right? And we've seen this pattern quite a bit so far. The last two questions were also, should help build our intuition that one, we're being dismissive, right? We're dismissing their concern, not offering any type of solution, but also we're disengaging from the problem, right? That is a big hallmark of a very ineffective answer, is when we just completely disengage from the scenario, the problem itself. So this is also going to be a 1 response. This question scenario 20 has been good so far in kind of illuminating how severe 1 responses tend to look, right? And how totally unhelpful, rude, dismissive, disengaging 1 answers tend to be. Suggest to the student that they meet with the professor to develop a study plan. All right, so are we addressing the main issue? I say we are, right? I say we're addressing the main issue. We are coming up with an idea that the student could use in order to better their situation, right? So I'm going to put this into a 3 and a 4. Now, once again, as we've already discussed, we're not offering the student the school's tutoring program, right? Which the AAMC has mentioned and put in this question because they see it as a very effective and resource for students to use in order to get help. We're not offering that, so it's not going to be a 4 response. Also, we can also consider that we're burdening the student because, they're already studying extensively, they're already stressed. Although, I do think this could be a very effective response in light of the fact that there is the tutoring program that can help them a bit more directly without having the student have to go to the professor. That's some rationale to bring this also into a 3. But the main rationale is the fact that the student, that we're not offering the student and our classmate the tutoring course, the tutoring program. All right, that was 20.8. Thank you all for sticking through. This was a very difficult answer, right? But some important takeaways is that the wording of the questions matter a lot. Definitely be very critical and think about why every aspect of a question is included into the scenario. Also, the AAMC places a lot of value on school administrators, on school resources, school programs. So whenever you have those, try to take advantage of it in these questions. All right, that concludes question 20. And that concludes us. We are 2/3 of the way done with the review. So yeah, if y'all made it this far, definitely thank you very much for watching these videos. I really hope they've been helpful. And by analyzing and thinking through your thought processes and making them a bit more standardized and clear, I think you're going to do really well on this exam. All right, enough said. Let's move on to question 21, and I will see y'all in the next video.